Well, I'd like to begin by thanking all of you for attending. I especially want to thank the conference organizers, in particular Professor Fox, for inviting me to come and speak today. I believe that personal branding on social media can be summed up with the title of my talk, which is Big Potential and Missed Opportunities. Unlimited potential now resides at our fingertips within the sphere of social media branding. With the click of a button, we can now individually possess the potential to reach a massive worldwide audience instantaneously. However, for every story of success, the majority of social networkers are users who are continually missing opportunities. Facebook in the Middle East is by far the most popular social media platform. The total number of users as of May 2014 totaled over 81 million, which was an increase of 30 million users from the previous year. The percentage of these users between the ages of 15 and 29 is 67%. This means that the majority of you in this room are those users, so you are talking to your own audience. Egypt constitutes about a quarter of all the Facebook users in the region at 24%. Additionally, according to Northwestern University in Qatar, as of April 24th, 2013, Egyptians who are on social media spend 3.3 hours a day on social media. So if you are already plugged in, you're spending about 3.5 hours a day on social media. That is a huge potential opportunity. All of these numbers continue to increase, but what does it mean? Essentially, it means there is a huge amount of potential. If you're willing to take the time to create captivating content and engage social media to create a personal brand. The time you spend surfing random posts by friends and family might be fun, but you may be missing a huge opportunity. I'm going to highlight a few different examples of successful personal brands on social media. Each of these individuals identified something they were deeply passionate about and diligently built that passion into a personal social media brand. I refer to them as the TV news junkie, the adventurer, and the translator. I hope their stories will inspire you as they have inspired me. I begin with one of the original bloggers who parlayed his social media success into a career. Brian Stetler, the TV news junkie, was a freshman at Towson University when he launched his blog TV Newser in 2004. That's actually a picture of him as a young 18-year-old, probably in his dorm room or somewhere on campus, with his now outdated laptop and TV Newser banner on that laptop. The blog specifically covered the television news industry. It was a 24-hour news feed of anonymous tips, gossip, newspaper article links, as well as program ratings. At the time, there was no other website like it. It was truly unique because it covered a very niche industry. It wasn't covering television, it wasn't covering news, it was covering television news industry. This was a specific item that he was passionate about as a young child. There's actually articles about him talking about how he would watch people like Peter Jennings, who was a famous news anchor in America, as a young child and want to be like him when he grew up. Because of its uniqueness, it attracted the attention of industry insiders and quickly grew. Stetler's blog started receiving insider tips from industry insiders, sometimes hundreds of emails a day, and eventually became a virtual bulletin board for the industry. Shortly after its creation in 2006, the blog gained such attention that the New York Times wrote a feature article about Stetler and his blog. As you can see here, this is a news capture from the New York Times website. This is a, at the time, 19-year-old Stetler in front of what looks like his new computer. I'm going to read a few quotes from the article that I think are really important. The first one comes from Jeffrey Schneider, who at the time was the Senior Vice President for ABC News. For those of you who may not know, ABC News is one of the top 3 networks in America, so this gentleman's opinion carries quite a bit of weight. Quote, "The whole industry pays attention to his blog. It would not surprise me if I refreshed my browser 30 to 40 times a day. While still a full-time student in college, a freshman and sophomore no less, Stetler worked diligently around the clock to ensure his content was fresh and up to date. The TV news industry, as we all know, is a 24-hour news cycle. It never ends. Additionally, Stetler had to be a 24-hour social media industry to build his personal brand. Had he not posted that scoop in a timely manner, his audience may have followed whomever did. The second quote from this article that I think is very interesting is, quote, "The network publicists barrage him with material, which they often expect him to post within minutes. While recording a radio segment one day for one of his classes, which happened to be Mass Communication 381, he turned his cell phone off for 15 minutes, then turned it back on to find one nagging voicemail from an ABC publicist and another from CNN. It is important to remember how time-sensitive your social media brand must be. In the case of Stetler covering news, he had to be up to the minute. So remember that while building your brand, to be successful, you need to know how timely you have to be. Could 15 minutes or even less be the difference between success and failure?" Stetler has since gone on to sell his blog to Media Bistro for an undisclosed sum. He wouldn't say how much. They then subsequently hired him to become the editor of that blog. He essentially said in an interview, the furthest he would go is to say that the amount he received was more than enough to cover his college expenses, which isn't too bad for a college freshman creating a blog. He ran the site until May 2007, when he graduated from Towson with a degree in mass communication, and 2 months after graduation, he resigned and was hired by the New York Times to cover media. An internal email from the New York Times during his hiring to all of the employees stated, quote, "His hiring underscores the expansion of our efforts to integrate what we do online with the print edition." This was huge. Essentially, the New York Times, one of the largest newspapers in the world, certainly one of the most well-known, was following a 23-year-old into the social media sphere. I know large corporate brands can sometimes seem so big and impersonal, but please keep in mind that you can never say that corporations will not take notice and follow the lead of a young, industrious social media personal brander. Stetler became one of the earliest architects of the New York Times social media presence, and in 2013, at 28 years old, he was hired away by CNN to host his own television news channel. All of this success started with a college student in the dorm room with a laptop computer and a dream. The next person I'm going to cover is what I like to refer to as the adventurer. I'm sure many of you are familiar with Omer Samra. You probably know him as the first Egyptian and youngest Arab to summit Mount Everest, the largest mountain in the world. However, did many of you know that Mr. Samra, while scaling this largest mountain, was also an unsatisfied investment banker that worked 17-hour days? While the job paid well, and he had the ability with that payment to satisfy his wanderlust and desire to climb mountains and find adventure, he was ultimately unfulfilled. In May 2007, while he was climbing Mount Everest, he took to Facebook, and during his travel and ascent up the mountain, he used his social media presence to allow people to track his progress. During that time, he gained a large following from this interesting and unique event. This is actually a screen capture from his account with him summiting the mountain, of course holding the Egyptian flag. And as you'll see at the bottom, the feedback, he's gotten over almost 12,000 likes, quite a few comments, and many forwards to other people. In May 2009, Samra decided to pursue his passion, which was adventure travel. He took his $25,000 in life savings and launched the site Wild Guanabana. The site primarily caters to Middle Easterners who are looking for what they refer to as adventure travel, typically going to off-the-beaten-path locations for kind of adrenaline adventures, or adrenaline-packed action. At the same time, Samra opened up a Facebook and Twitter account, and I thought this was really interesting. You'll note that on his first 5 tweets, both on his personal account as well as his company account, he has 0 replies, 0 favorites, and 0 retweets. He got no traction. However, the same hard work and determination that he showed in climbing Mount Everest, as well as every other of the highest peaks that this world has, he also applied to his social networking, and it has now paid off. Omer utilized his unique personal desire for adventurous travel. He posted content of his travels to exceptionally difficult locations so that fans could follow him on social media. While posting this content, he utilized his personal social media brand to to promote his professional travel website. You can see examples of it here. Similar to what Saif was talking about with the infographics, he used infographics very well. This was fairly recently, using the hashtag #OmarGoesSouth. Samra was trying to reach the South Pole, and each day he would post his progress with an infographic. As you can see, this is day 11, and he's now starting to get quite a bit of traction with these infographics, and of course, at the bottom, you'll see a logo for his company, which you can click through to get to his website. That all culminated with his finally reaching the South Pole. It was a very unique and interesting campaign, and again, he used his personal brand to promote his professional brand. Samra continues to grow both professionally and personally. As you can see here, this is a screen capture from his Facebook, currently as it looks, and its header is advertising his upcoming journey to the North Pole in April, using the hashtags #OmarGoesNorth, as well as the first Egyptian, because he will be the first Egyptian to reach the North Pole. Again, the ever-present logo for his company, which you can click through and get to his website. In recognition of his hard work and determination with both his personal and professional brand, just this past month, the Prime Minister of Dubai, Sheikh Mohammed bin Rashid Maktoum, presented Samra with the award for Best Travel Influence at the first annual Arab Social Media Influencers Conference. Omar has tremendous reach through his social media brand, as evidenced by this recent post. I captured this within a day or two of it going up, and you can already see he's got almost 500 likes, 36 comments, as well as over 100 shares. That I'm sure has gone up quite a bit since I've captured this. As a consequence of his hard work and building his social media brand, Wild Wanabana has grown to include a second office in Dubai, with a third expected to open in Riyadh. His social media presence began simply by posting his unique affinity for mountain climbing and adventure travel, and allowing others to follow. The final person is Sultan AUCSMC and his Twitter account. Many of you may be familiar with him. He started out the year 2011 with 7,000 followers. By the middle of 2011, he had 70,000 followers, and now he has 300,000 followers. What changed? As the world focused on the momentous events unfolding throughout the Arab Middle East in what is now popularly referred to as the Arab Spring, AUCSMC identified a communication gap between the Arab news and the rest of the world. He quickly filled this gap by expediently translating the news that was provided in Arabic into English and tweeting it out to his followers. His Twitter account rapidly became an authoritative voice conveying current events. He was tweeting by his own account at some points up to 45 times per minute. Once every 45 seconds. That would have been really talented if he could do that. In his own words, quote, "For 3 straight weeks, I wasn't eating, I wasn't sleeping. I don't think I had a proper lunch or dinner in that time," referring to the height of the uprisings. In response, journalists and others trying to follow the fast-moving events in the region began retweeting Simi. Of course, a cascade of new followers began to follow his Twitter feed. That culminated in his becoming one of the top 140 best Twitter feeds to follow for 2011 from Time magazine, which you can see here. I have the screen capture from time.com. Additionally, he has continued that success by also, for the past 2 years, in 2013 and 2014, being listed by Gulf Business Magazine among the top 100 most powerful Arabs in the region. Since the Arab Spring, AUCSMC has slackened his pace of tweeting a bit, but it is only to concentrate on the opportunities that arose from his internationally defining moment. His work has since been published in such locations as the Financial Times, The Independent, The Guardian, The Huffington Post, The New York Times, Haaretz, Reuters, Al Monitor, Foreign Policy, The Globe and Mail, as many other publications. Sultan AUCSMC was also recently invited to join the Global Commission on Internet Governance, an initiative with only 28 members that was launched at the recent World Economic Forum in Davos, Switzerland. Essentially, by identifying a need and filling this void through social media, the fast-thinking and hard-working AUCSMC is now an internationally recognized and published media pundit. Each one of these individuals is an example of someone that had a clear vision and found a void that needed to be filled. They employed social media and through hard work and dedication, willed their desires into existence through building a personal social media brand. The options for your personal brand are limitless. Just take the example of the 18-year-old Brian Stetler updating his initial TV Newser website during class, or Omar Samra, the unsatisfied, overworked investment banker who was secretly the world-class adventurer that we all now know today, or the 33-year-old college lecturer who can translate quickly. Just identify a void or a gap in social media that you are passionate about and fill it with your personal brand. The phenomenon does not end with these three examples. There are many examples of individuals who seize the opportunity to personally brand on social media. While doing research for this talk, I found multiple new social media personal brands popping up almost daily. One example is the Syrian-based Facebook user, Mohammed H., who has accumulated, by my count, 136,000 likes in less than a year with his comedic-based Vine videos. Through passion, tireless dedication, and finding a unique, clear, and authentic voice, these individuals raised their personal social media brands and became, and continue to be, very successful. All of these social media influencers are no different than you. So I leave you with one final question. Who in this audience is going to be the next Brian Stetler, Omar Samra, Sultan AUCSMC, or Mohammed H? Thank you very much.